All right, so most people know this move as the Charlier cut. I like to call it the one-handed cut, not big into fancy names. I'll show you the mechanics. I'll give you some tips as to how it can be used. And then I'll also show you a couple of different angles just to give you a little more up close and personal tutorial. So essentially, you're gonna straddle the deck with all 5 fingers, thumb on the top, these 2 fingers on the bottom, index and pinky on the left side. You do this because it gives you more control because you are gonna be utilizing the thumb and index finger while these fingers are holding the deck in place. So I'll give you an exposed view from the back here. You're going to split the deck halfway here, and so you're gonna lift this up while this packet is falling back down on the palm. Now, while these fingers are still holding up this top packet, the index is gonna come underneath. I'll try to show you an exposed view. It's gonna come underneath and actually begin to push this top packet up. Now, you will clear this packet once you push high enough, and the thumb is actually gonna disconnect from the top packet. Now, at this point, the top one will rest on the index finger. And now I'm gonna slow down. It's gonna look a little messy and I'll speed it up a little afterwards. But now this is going to collapse in on itself. So essentially you are losing the top and the bottom card when you do this, but that is the point of it. So now let's do it one more time. Split it down the middle. You get your index finger, push the bottom packet up. This will require a little bit of practice and stretching of the fingers if you have not done this move before. Now, when you get to the top here, again, it's gonna clear, it's gonna rest on the index finger, and you're going to bring the index finger down, back over, and at the same time, the top packet will collapse. So a little quicker, it looks like this. Okay, one more time. So practice that move, become fluent in it. It will take a little bit of practice since you will be stretching your fingers in ways that you will not be used to. But in the end, it is very rewarding because it lets you get away with cleaner tricks. A really brief example, maybe I can do a tutorial later on for this, but the snap change, whenever you demonstrate the new card, you want to be able to give it to the spectator and let them inspect it. Meanwhile, you can hand them the deck, and you may have just seen that I just performed the cut where I got rid of the card that I had just changed it from. So I'll give you an exposed view on that, but one more time, a great example will be this. So this allows you to get away with a cleaner change and allows you to have everything inspected. So right now I have 2 cards here. You're gonna perform the snap, right? You're gonna drop it. It's now on the top of the deck. As I'm handing it back, they can look at the deck as well. They can inspect it. They're gonna have to look a little while before they can find it, but if by the time that they find it in the middle, it's even more convincing because it just looked like the card just switched and jumped into the middle of the deck. All right, so now for an exposed view, when you've got both cards here, you'll do the snap. You're left with this card on the back. You're not that far off from the deck, so just go ahead in the act of bringing the new card, the newly changed card down, drop the discarded card. And so I like to turn it around, just let them see all angles, and I go to hand it to them. As I'm handing it, I'm already performing this cut, but since all eyes are on the 4 of spades, nobody's paying attention to this. Now, I'm not too fast about this next move, but as soon as I give it to them, I put the deck down so that they can see my hands are clean, and I can step away and let them inspect everything. So the alternative, and this is what I see a lot of people do, you don't want this done, is once they perform the change and they discard the card, they'll give it to them and then they'll cut on the table or they'll perform some kind of other, cut. This is very unnecessary. Nobody's eyes are on the deck. They're more focused on this card. One last, piece of advice that I would give is follow the natural order of things. If you want to sell the idea that you are showing them a card, you wave it, whatever, and it just changed, naturally, you would want them to see the card, you put it on the table, you would leave the deck on the table and step aside because you want them to fully examine everything, be awed by the fact that the impossible just happened. And this goes for any other trick as well. So if that is the natural order of things, there's a 4 of spades, you just changed it, you put it down, give them the deck, allow the slice to be incorporated to give the appearance that you're still doing the natural order of things. And here's the quick example. You wave it, right? Give them the card, give them the deck. But by then, the card is already lost in there that they had previously seen. They're not gonna be able to backtrack. So that is the Charlier cut. I recommend practicing it. It's a very easy one to discard cards onto and then lose into the deck. while you are having everybody distracted with your right hand or whichever hand you're most dominant with, handing the cards off. It's a very practical one. It's very seamless. It flies under the radar. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel for future content, and let me know in the comments if you guys have any recommended tutorials you'd like to see.